and 45 seconds. 26 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock.
Looking good. All the makeups are looking good.
What was one of the hardest makeup effects you ever had to do?
Hardest makeup effects. Well, I said this, you know, Dean talked about one he did for one of the Star Trek movies.
Well, Star Trek Insurrection was being prepped. That was like 97, 98, and F. Murray Abraham was cast for the movie. F. Murray Abraham won an Oscar for Best Actor in a movie called Amadeus. So I was excited to work with F. Murray Abraham. F. Murray Abraham also was from Texas. So Michael Westmore, who ran the department, graciously gave me the job of doing all the makeup tests, all sculpting all the pieces for the test to create the makeup for that movie. I was doing 10 months a year on Deep Space Nine, and then we had 2 months off for vacation. Well, what they did was plan to do Star Trek Insurrection on our vacation, so I never got a day off. I just went straight to work on Insurrection. But I was challenged with helping Mike create the makeups for that show, and the makeups were very elaborate. And Rick Berman, the executive producer for the shows and the movies, had some ideas about the makeup based on something he saw in another movie that a famous director had done. I forgot the name of the movie. But so I did several tests, and finally it was agreed upon, and I got to sculpt the main makeup for F. Murray Abraham. Not only did I get to sculpt it, I got to lay the appliances on him. But I needed help because it was a 6-hour makeup. We narrowed down to 3 hours, and it was 14 to maybe 17 pieces, individually pieces, on top of a bald head, a bald cap. So that took us a while, and we did that for 3 hours every day for about 2 months. But that was very exciting to work with F. Murray Abraham. By the end of the show, we also did an old age makeup on F. Murray Abraham. But we were very happy to be a part of that legacy, the Star Trek legacy. About 2 years ago, they invited a bunch of us back for the Emmy Awards. So I got to go to the Emmys again 2 years ago, and they gave William Shatner a special Emmy as being, you know, part of his legacy of being the captain of the Starship Enterprise. I'll tell you a story about Gene Roddenberry. I was going to Greensboro College for a year before I went on to UNCG, and my English professor knew Gene Roddenberry and invited him to come to the college to do a lecture about Star Trek, the original series. But at that time, Gene was writing a script for the movie, for the next feature. And I had the opportunity to have dinner with Gene that night. I had the opportunity to show he brought some home movies of Star Trek and some of the series. He brought some behind the scenes 16 millimeter. And I was the audiovisual guy at Greensboro College, so I showed those movies. And so Gene had invited me out to go bar hopping at the end of the night after we showed the movies. But I declined the offer. I regret that. I regret going bar hopping with Gene Roddenberry, who was the man for Star Trek and a bigwig at Paramount. Cut to, 5 years later, I get called in for an interview to work on Deep Space Nine and to work on Next Generation with Mike Westmore, being the boss of the show. Gene died before I got to work on Star Trek, the television series. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to go up to Mr. Roddenberry and say, "Hey, Gene Roddenberry, sir, do you remember me from Greensboro College? I was the kid that you wanted to go bar hopping with." And but unfortunately he died. But I did get to work with his wife, Major Roddenberry. I did get to work with his son, Rod Roddenberry. I actually joined Rod's diving team. I'm a diver. I dive a lot in California, scuba diver. But Rod started a diving club, which I became a member of back in 2008, I believe. But so it's like, Hollywood's like one big family. And this show business is like having one big family. So you come full circle in meeting people all the time. Matter of fact, one of my first movies that I directed, Starr produced, called Coffin Baby. The first actor that I became friends with is Brian Krause. So come full circle, cut to 2010? No,
Yeah.
2010, no, 2011.
2011, yeah.
2011 is the last time I saw Brian Krause in Hollywood. We were working on a movie called Coffin Baby, and I saw him again for the first time this morning.
And we actually
I was thrilled.
We actually flew Brian in because we shot some of the scenes at the haunted house. And we flew him in. He came in to Burlington, and we went out to the show and shot some police scenes where they find the killer's lair, and he's the lead detective in the movie. So
I was tickled to death to see Brian today and come for a circle. So hopefully we'll get to work with Brian again soon. He was on a TV show called Charmed.
20 minutes, 20 minutes. Anybody have another question? Got a question? Now,
The makeups are looking fabulous, guys.
any questions? So I'll tell you, you had the previous question, you're talking about makeups. We did another show about a vampire that was also an assassin. Okay? Brad Dourif was in it. Michael Bailey Smith was in it. He's in Hills Have Eyes, a remake. And in the movie, there was a genie monster. Okay, a big, and they cast a big football guy to play. He was like 7'2", weighed about 280, this huge guy. And we designed and built this makeup, head to toe in makeup and appliances. And he had this big ponytail and these claws and fangs and all this kind of stuff. So the first day that we did the makeup, it took us, I think there was 3 of us or 4 of us working on him. It took us about 5 hours to do him in makeup. Okay, so he shot all day, and then he was supposed to work the next day. So he got finished. It took us about an hour and a half to get him out of the makeup. And then he got let go, you know, after he was wrapped for the night. He was supposed to be back the next morning. So we're there in the trailer cleaning up, and the AD comes in and says, "We have a problem." "What do you mean?" Now, we had designed this makeup that fit this actor. We did a head cast, body cast, everything, so the pieces would fit him. That was about, you know, about a month's worth of work to do that, to make all these pieces. And the AD says, "We have a problem." I said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, you want the good news or bad news?" "Well, the good news, you got to do the makeup again tomorrow." "Okay." "I consider that bad news." He said, "Well, the really bad news is our actor just quit. He decided that was not for him. He decided he did not want to sit in makeup and endure that long." So that was kind of a problem, because now what are we going to do? How do we find someone else to fit this part to work the next day? So what they had to do is change the schedule, and they pushed this stuff to the next day to give us time to find another actor to replace him. But and the other guy he was fine with it, but this one fellow, that was enough for him.
I have a similar story. I'm on Star Trek, and we had guest stars every week. And I had specific makeup that was designed for this actor. So the actor comes in for his fitting the day before he works. And I took a Polaroid of this actor. He's a famous character actor. He was in a movie, he was in John Carpenter's movie called The Thing. Big part. And if you saw his face, you'd recognize him. So this guy comes in for his fitting. I take a Polaroid of his face. I get everything ready. 4:30 a.m. the next morning, I'm waiting. Half hour goes by, no actor. An hour goes by, no actor shows up. The ADs are going, we don't know where he's at. And then we get a phone call, and the makeup trailer says the actor's been replaced. That poor actor died of a heart attack on the freeway on his way home. So I had the last picture of this actor ever taken. And they had him, they told me, so we have another actor coming in this morning. Don't tell him that he replaced somebody who passed away. So, but a new actor came in, so I had to kind of retrofit the piece to his face. but it worked out. So those are tragic stories, and it happens a lot, and it's unfortunate. But they had someone ready to take his place in 2 hours. I think this guy was second in the role. They always have a backup. Anytime you cast an actor, you always get a backup actor in case he falls out and doesn't make it or doesn't want to do the job. Because those makeups are extensive and they take a lot of time and effort, and sometimes it's not worth it for a big star. Oh, I remember we had another star, I forget his name. I did a guy in an alien makeup. He was completely covered. And after that alien makeup, he was a character actor. He did 2 big movies and he became just a star overnight. And I never saw him again. But anyway, we have lots of stories. How are we doing on time?
You have 15 minutes. 15 minutes.
Everybody's looking pretty good.
15 minutes.
So I encourage everybody to come by and talk to us. I encourage everybody to come by and sign up to join our show. I encourage everybody to pick up a brush, a sponge.
We're also doing wounds, bullet wounds, gashes in the booth. You're going to come by and get a gash. The prices are different just depending on the size you get, but I think the least expensive is like 10 and then it goes to 20. So we come by and
I think we're going to squeeze in 2 more movies this year. One with Kevin Sorbo. I think we've decided, I talked to Kevin Sorbo about 2 weeks ago. We have a movie we were going to make last year, it got put on hold because of COVID. So Kevin's back in the picture. We'll shoot that in Burlington at the studio and all around Burlington for our exteriors. True story about a funeral director living in Kernersville. Most of the story does take place in Burlington, based on a book that Hallmark had picked up for an option, and the option lapsed, and I got the option on it, so we're going to be doing that. Maybe doing another horror movie. So please sign up for our actor list, because if we do the horror movie we think we're going to do, it's going to require a lot of background actors, and a lot of people in makeup. So that's coming up. If we do that, if we shoot that, that'll be probably November. Probably shoot the movie in 15 days, shoot it at the studio. We have some sets that are going to be torn down before Christmas. We want to use those sets before they get taken away. So I encourage everybody to sign up. Be a part of North Carolina filmmaking history.
Any other questions? Surely someone's got a question. Nobody? That big skull at the hump, yes. That is made out of styrofoam. And it is actually 4 blocks of styrofoam. I build a lot of the sets and stuff at the show. I grew up doing a lot of construction work with my dad, and then when I got into Roger Corman's, I started building props and sets and stuff like that. So I do a lot of that as well. But that is, like I said, 4 blocks of styrofoam. They've been glued together, and then I had to make a carving instrument in order to carve it. We made a kind of like a big bow, and it had a piano wire. And we hooked it up to a car charging battery to put voltage to it, and that's how we actually carved it, big chunks. And then I went in with wire brushes and stuff and just did that, and then I covered it. And that's been there probably almost 27 years, and it's still like it was when I put it there. We have a black pearl replica at the show that I built. It's not the same size as the black pearl. The actual black pearl is huge, but it's a smaller version of it. But it took us 2 years to complete it. One season to do the outside structure, and then the next season we did the inside so that people can actually go into the ship this time. So it has a moat in front of it, and it's a lot of fun. One thing I want to do at the show, if I ever get the time, I want to build a pyramid. Then you go in the bottom of it, you go up, and then you come down. That's my next thing I want to do. But we've actually shot some commercials and some movies at the haunted house. And we have a couple of scripts that take place in the haunted house that we'd like to do at some point. Another thing we're doing at the show, at our studio, we're developing a comedy variety show called Southern Nights that has sketch comedy based, but it'll also have a guest artist coming in. We're also going to feature local talent to play there in music, and you can tap dance, juggle, whatever. So if you have interest in that, put your name down on the list. We're always looking for talent. We're in the process of writing the scripts now. And the main thing is set place in a small southern town, but the idea is that a little more intelligent humor than what you normally see when you think of someone from the South. But it'll have all kinds of humor, everything political, social humor. It'll be kind of like Saturday Night Live meets Hee Haw a little bit. And we'll be shooting that at the studio, and we will have a live audience for that when we get ready to tape those shows. We just finished casting everyone about a month ago, and now we're in the writing process. 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes. Any other questions? Anybody have any questions? Yes. The longest makeup I've ever done. It would be a tie between the one I talked about, the genie, and another makeup that we had to do, an old man who was in a movie directed by Tobe Hooper, one of the last films Tobe Hooper directed, called Mortuary. And the writer cast himself in this part, not realizing the intense makeup he was going to have to go through. He was he was like 30 years old, but he had to be like 90. And the thing was, we had to cover everything because all he wore, because he was a cadaver on a table, he had like a kind of a diaper. So everything had to look old. So that was like a 6-hour makeup and about 2-hour removal every night. And he was in the movie all the time. And by the time it was over, he was ready to be finished with that part. That was a tough shoot because the last day of shooting, we were trying to finish the movie. We were in a location where we had to be done by Monday. We came in on a Friday morning. The writers ended up having to try to rewrite the end of the movie so we can finish it. Well, we came in at Friday morning at about 10 a.m. We wrapped at about 8 o'clock Monday morning. So we were shooting that long to finish the movie. Because if we didn't have finished, they couldn't finish it because we lost that location at this house. When they went to scout the house to shoot the movie there, they did not realize that there was a train track right behind it. And about every hour, a train went by. So we would be in there filming and we would feel the house begin to move and vibrate. So we knew the train was coming. And most of the time it was a very long train. So it'd be 10 to 15 minutes. We would just have to stand there and wait for the train to go by. It couldn't work because it wouldn't work for sound and everything was shaking. It just so happened this is a historical house that they had moved to a park that we were using, and they were getting ready to refurbish it, and we had to be out by Monday morning. So that was a very long day, starting Friday, ending Monday morning. Okay, you guys, you have 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Any other quick questions? She has a question.
Any ghost stories while on set? Any things moving, doors slamming on their own?
Well, not on set, but if you come to our haunted attraction, you might run into something. About 15 years ago, we started getting comments from some of the people coming out of the haunt. I said, the show was really great, but what scared me the most was that little girl. I said, what little girl? We don't have a little girl. We found out later, much later, that a little girl had died close to the show in a house that was next to the show. She didn't live where the show was, but she was in a house next to it. And so all we could figure is, but we have periodically over the years seen her. So that's how we got the idea. We have the character now at the show. So sometimes people will come in and say, I saw the little girl. And we'll say, no, that was her actress. And well, she was in the pirate area. Well, our little girl's not in the pirate area. And this is what we've been told by people who come through. So, but she doesn't, I mean, but people have seen her. Anyway. That's true. I'm not making that up. I had people through the show come out and tell us this. So we started just making it a character at the show. My daughter actually played her for several years until she got too tall. My daughter Chloe is one of the perfect. If you come by to get a makeup, she may be the one to do it for you. All right, you guys have 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yes.
How would you recommend to make like
How would you recommend FX blood? Okay. Well, there are lots of formulas for blood. We have our own that we make, that we use, that has no sugar in it, and it has a very long shelf life. And the great thing about it is once it dries, it has that maroon kind of brown color once it dries. But if you just wanted to make a blood, there is a formula that's pretty easy. That's actually made from Cairo corn syrup. The drawback is it has sugar and it gets sticky, and if you leave it out, you can attract ants. But there's a certain amount of red food color you put in there and a certain amount of green. Because if you just put red, it doesn't give that deep red color that blood has. So there is a formula. If you want to come by, I can tell you what that is. I'll give you the exact formula for it. But that was one of the first ones we did. Yes. Most complicated. Actually, one of the most complicated and most difficult to do was a character that Dean did called Odo on Deep Space Nine. The reason it was so complicated, it was basically one piece, and ears and a lip. It had to be laid down completely perfectly because it had no bends in it, it had no folds in it. Because if it wasn't put right, if you moved his face, you would get crinkles in the face. Okay, you got about a minute. Let's see. Yep, we're close. Actually, I lied. You got 2 minutes and 15 seconds still. So take a look at your makeups. Watch your edges. Any last touch-ups you want to do? And you got 2 minutes. You guys did a great job finishing it in an hour.
Ultimately, we're the judges for the contest, but I'd like the audience's participation in this contest. A little meter here to see how we judge here. Contestant number 1. Stand up front so we can see you guys. So what's his makeup called again? A zombie? Zombie. Good job. So audience, what do you think about zombie number 1? Pretty good. Okay, come on back down. We got 10 minutes. So, contestant number 2. You're no evil. Good job. See, he went through the trouble to do hands and feet. A lot of times on set, the actor gets made up on the face, but the makeup artist forgets the hands and the feet. Okay, step forward a little bit so we can see you. And tell us about this makeup. This is?
They hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil.
Awesome. Okay, audience, what do you think? Okay, come on back down. Contestant number 3. All right, and step forward. So what is this design?
The devil himself.
The devil himself. Okay, step forward so people see you. Okay, audience, how do you think here? Contestant number 3. Awesome job. Contestant number 4. All of you guys have done an incredible job. This is not an easy thing to work under pressure and a time frame to do a makeup, a complete makeup from start to finish. This is not like Face Off, where they're given weeks to do the makeup and make it look like it took minutes. And, okay, this is, I know who this is. Pretty obvious. What inspired you?
What inspired me, I like the movie Star Wars, and we did him. He looks pretty close to the character that actually plays him, so I decided to try it out and give that follow.
Pretty spot on, looks great. Okay, audience, what do you think? All right, that's our contestants, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now the judges will take a moment to confer. Okay, our contestants, we have made a decision. Panel of judges of 2. So, our winner, number 3, is our zombie. Third place, our zombie. Awesome job. Winner number 2 is the devil. Awesome job. The devil. And our grand prize winner number 1 is Darth Maul. We really would love to have had a 4th place winner because she did an awesome job on that makeup, and I'd like to congratulate you.
Everyone will get a certificate of merit. If you'll come by the booth, we'll give you that. I have one more thing for the 4th place person. This is, let me explain to you what this is. This is Bear, which is a Dark Sea Creations. This is created by Dark Sea Creations, and this is the Bear, so you get the Bear.
It's our consolation prize.
Thanks for everybody participating this year. We had a great time. It really was a tough decision for everybody. If I could, I would have given everybody in 1st place. You guys did a great job. You know, all of you did. But thanks for coming back. Come by and see us at the booth if you would. And join us tonight if you like to see our show, Dark Awakening. Big gory makeup at the end.